Jeremy is in Dartford. Jeremy, what would you like to say?
Well, hello, James. I'm the Jeremy in the photograph. I'm the leader of Dartford Borough Council, and it's me you're talking about.
Fantastic.
And,
had you had exceptionally good news before the photographer turned up?
No, let me tell you what happened, James. And you don't know me, my friend, and I'm trying to be. I love my town. I love the people in it. I'm trying to do the right thing.
Yes.
We were invited yesterday to open. It's not actually a brand new food bank. It's a new location where there's been a lot of work put into it by the volunteers and others. There was actually a bit of a joke just before the ribbon was cut, and photographs will tell a snapshot.
What was the joke?
Of the moment. I think it was about the countdown. I think the countdown stuttered, and I think...
So you did a countdown and before you cut the ribbon?
Well, James...
At a facility for people who can't afford to feed themselves after 12 years of government by your party.
Well, let me just say, James...
you say what you want, Jeremy.
James didn't... Well, I can if I get a moment. Food banks didn't begin with a political party, James. They began many years ago. They began under a Labour council, Labour government.
I can't remember any parties being thrown when they were opening.
Well... This wasn't a party, James, and really, if it was thrown by the people who organise and volunteer.
Whose idea was the ribbon?
It was entirely the people who organise the event, and it was the person who runs the food bank.
You didn't think to say, I'm not sure this is appropriate. It's a food bank that's feeding people that can't afford to feed themselves. It's not really something we should be celebrating. I mean, listen, the thing is, you can say here now, do you know what? The reason why we've took the pictures down, or the reason why the mayor, who I believe is one of your Conservative colleagues, isn't she? Yes. The reason why they've removed those pictures from the Facebook page is obviously because we looked at them and realised how utterly inappropriate it was. Or you can carry on trying to defend it against the backdrop of knowing that you've taken down the pictures in a panic. So you can't really have it both ways. Jeremy.
I appreciate. Listen, James. I know it's your name on the show, and you say, but give me a moment just to say something. And
why did you take the pictures down?
I'll tell you why.
Yes.
It's because the comments underneath it have become political for the mayor's page. My understanding is the pictures are going back if they haven't already.
Excellent. We'll keep an eye out for them. How can it not be political if you're the Conservative leader of Dartford Council?
Because the comments were on the mayor's page. That's
but
why.
she was a Conservative councillor as well.
Well, there are plenty of Labour mayors out there, and they will tell you too, James, that the mayor...
I can't see any of them laughing like a drain at the opening of a food bank, Jeremy.
Well, James, you're taking a snapshot of the moment. I'm trying to
I can see 12, actually.
Let me ask you,
snapshots,
if you don't mind. Let me ask you...
It doesn't work like that, I'm afraid, Councillor.
Okay, no,
so here's how it works. Well, what the hell were you thinking?
I was thinking that we've been invited by the organisers and volunteers of the food bank to come along. We have a long association with them. We've been funding them. We've been helping them, supporting them.
You should be standing there looking shamefaced. This is 12 years of Conservative government.
Well, the people in the back of the photograph, James, who are also laughing, were people who work at the food bank, volunteer at the food bank.
That's fine. They're not elected representatives of the party responsible for the cost of living crisis.
And I'm trying to make the point, James, that we are working... Well, I'm not responsible for that.
No, you're an elected representative of that party, Jeremy.
I'm a local councillor.
So you turn up... Let me give you some free advice, all right? I'll play the role of Malcolm Tucker. What you do when you turn up at the opening of a food bank, you say, it's a crying shame that this is necessary, but I want to applaud the efforts of all the people trying to plug the holes in the basic requirements of human decency that have been blown wide open by people like Jacob Rees-Mogg, Michael Gove and Boris Johnson. And frankly, I'm ashamed to be a member of the same party as them because the necessity of food banks is so immense that the fact that anyone could call them uplifting is a national shame. There you go. You can have that for nothing.
I mean, the Malcolm Tucker analogy is interesting because I think that's what's happening here, actually. And we're losing contact with real people and their real situations.
Real people. Well, I speak to real people all day, every day, and every single one of them thinks this is gross.
I'm an elected council leader in Dartford. I love my town. I love the people. I'm trying very hard to support people through difficult times. We did during the pandemic. We're doing it now. Visiting food banks, opening food banks, supporting food banks, discuing with members yesterday.
No one is disputing. All the things you talked pictures about. Still haven't been changed. Listen, no, you can go off on your party political broadcast.
It's not, I haven't talked about politics at all.
You know, and I know.
You're the only one talking about politics.
You know, and I know that this is a really, really bad look. Why don't you just say so, and then we can all go home happy?
Well, I would ask.
And next time they open a food bank, don't cut a ribbon, Jeremy.
Why don't you ask the people who invited us and who took the photograph? It wasn't a photo opportunity. I didn't decide to have a photograph taken. It was taken by the director.
I get asked for photographs all the time. Some circumstances are appropriate, some are inappropriate. You don't do it. You don't say, as an elected member of a council, as an elected politician in a part of the country where they need a food bank to feed people who can't afford to feed themselves, you don't say, oh, pass the scissors, I'll cut the ribbon now. You just don't do it, man.
But what about the...
what about?
Hang on, you have no view of the people who invited us yesterday, who were perfectly happy and welcoming.
No, it's the ribbon and the scissors and the laughing that's the problem, not the fact that you opened it. And then I'll ask you again, why have you taken the pictures down? Why have you taken the pictures down?
They will go back. I promise you they'll go back. I promise you they'll go back.
I'm watching the page.
When
are they going back up?
To do this.
When are they going back up?
To do this. Don't hector me, James.
I'm asking you when they're going back up.
You're not allowing me to get a word in. And
you've had several words in. When are the pictures going back up?
They're going up very soon. There's an instruction to put them back up, and they will go back up.
Right.
Let me just say. Will you just give me a minute?
Yes, of course I will. Yeah, absolutely.
Carry on. I didn't need to phone. My phone lit up this morning because it appeared on LBC, and I wasn't listening to it. And I rung in. But let me just have a minute just to say this. The necessity of food banks is a real scar on our country, OK? Nobody wants to see people in a situation. I met many of the clients yesterday, and the conversations I had with people who ran the food bank yesterday was, how can we civilise this? How can we improve this? How can we make this more of a helpful situation for the people who are there in other things? Actually, it's not just a food bank they're running. They're running signposting advice on homes, homelessness.
No one is disputing the decency of the people that run these places.
But they set
it's
up
the political
yesterday,
necessity of them that is shameful, and the fact that an elected... You see, the thing is, you can start bleating about not being allowed to speak, and then you go off around the houses. The conversation we are having, and that my listeners are... The conversation my listeners are engaged in, which you have sought to contribute to, is one about how on earth elected representatives... How on earth could elected representatives have thought it was appropriate to laugh, smile and celebrate the opening of a food bank?
Because the organisers of the food bank thought it was appropriate, and that's where they invited us. Okay. The gentleman there, who's a fantastic guy, a friend of mine.
And you didn't think to say there's no way that we should be taking photographs of everybody laughing, cracking jokes.
If the people, cracking jokes. If the people at the food bank volunteering for it, running it, organising it, thought it was appropriate, then frankly, as a guest, it's not for me to suggest that I would not do this and not do that.
You should have asked the clients.
I did actually speak to many clients yesterday.
Did you ask them how they felt about a celebratory ceremony?
I think they're very...
Because the ones that ring me are ashamed to be seen in these places.
Okay. Well, I understand that, and that's exactly why the conversation with the volunteers, helpers and organisers yesterday was so deep about these issues. How can we help? How can we improve the process? How can we get out of this?
You're blaming the organisers,
then? Me. Well, we were invited, James, and we went, James.
Last chance, Jeremy. Was it a mistake, do you think, to be laughing and smiling while you were cutting the ribbon at the opening of a food bank?
I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased to have gone there yesterday. They're great people.
It's not what I asked, I'm afraid. Was it a mistake to be photographed smiling and laughing and cutting a ribbon while opening a food bank?
I think it would have been rude and a mistake not to do what they asked us to do yesterday.
They didn't ask you to laugh and smile and crack jokes, did they?
Well,
was it a mistake to be photographed laughing while you cut a ribbon at the opening of a food bank?
It would have been... I have no responsibility for when a photograph
was it a mistake to be photographed laughing when you cut the ribbon at the opening of a food bank?
It would have been a mistake to not do what they asked to do, James.
Yes or no?
It would have been a mistake to not do what they asked.
So it wasn't a mistake to be photographed laughing? No one asked you to laugh, did they?
Well, laughing is an involuntary response which involved all of the volunteers and the organisers.
It's an involuntary response to funny things, and there's nothing funny about the opening of a food bank.
I mean, you need to speak to the organisers about that and ask whether they also found it funny.
I'm speaking to you because you're the one front and centre in the photograph that I'm talking about. Was it a mistake to be photographed laughing and joking while cutting a ribbon at the opening of a facility designed to help people who can't afford to eat after 12 years of government by the party you represent?
I was very pleased to go there, James, and very pleased to do what you
Thanks for calling, Jeremy.
Thanks, matey.
Have a good day.